XZone is a nonprofit after-school program. We have a couple pieces that are a part of us, but essentially the piece that I work the closest with is the mentoring program, and those students come to us after school and we just kind of share life with them, talk about their days, talk about academics, talk about relationships with their peers, talk about relationships with their parents. And something that we work really hard to do is cultivate that community amongst our students as well as with the parents.
Well, when we began, there were folks here in the community that, entrepreneurs, folks that really wanted to see something for teenagers, especially after school and long term. There just wasn't a lot of options for them to do. So when you have a lot of idle time and you're not really engaged in the right things, you find other things to fit that time frame. When I came to interview, I actually had stayed at the Hackman's home, working with the different groups here, and they had asked me what my dream was, and I put it down on some paper and some napkins and left it for them. And through some collaboration with the church here that they had already been working with and what I was doing, they realized this could be a good synergy, and we began.
XZone has been here for right around 10 years, a little over 10 years. I have been here 5.5. I actually didn't want to come to XZone. My oldest son had just started, that teenage year stuff, and someone from XZone came over to me, and they were like, "Oh, Michelle, you should come over to XZone," because I was currently working at GCA, and I was like, "No, I can't do that." And they're like, "Oh yeah, you can't. You've got teenagers," and I was like, "Yeah, but see, my teenagers listen to me because they're pretty good kids." And she was like, "Oh no, you just come over and you'll be fine." So I was like, I debated about it and debated about it, and I prayed about it and I prayed about it, and I was like, okay. So I came over here, and it took me one day to realize that this is where God wanted me to be. And then just, a couple months later, they was like, "All right, we want you over here all the time." So I was like, okay.
In the afternoon when the students are here, or in the summer, because we have a large summer program too, we have some staffed mentors as well as some volunteer mentors. And those are the people that Michelle and I do training with, but we also get to enjoy getting to know them and seeing the way that different kids connect with them. So those people come in the afternoon and work alongside us while we work alongside the students.
If you're struggling in school, they'll be there to help you with anything you need. Just the motivational things, this, say someone's saying stuff about me, they're like, "Okay, well maybe you should go up and be like, hey, I've heard this." Don't be like, excuse me, they're just be honest about it and stuff.
When a student comes in, pretty much from our directors, they begin to lead with the students, and we found that there are just some key principles that need to happen. First one is, if a person is a mentor, they don't have to know everything and how to engage a kid. There's things that we can train them to do, but I'm consistent that a teenager or a kid really asks several questions. So to be a really great mentor, in my opinion, you have to be someone who is willing to listen. You're willing to show just authentic love to people, that they can be accepted just right where they are, no matter what their decisions have been, to be able to do that. And kids want to know, will you be there when it's the toughest? And if you can answer those 3 questions, you can be a fabulous mentor.
We have volunteers who come faithfully every week. I love the volunteers we have because they have the heart. And that's the thing, not to cry or anything, but the program that we run now, that we have now for these kids and what we do, to me is a lot different than it was 5.5 years ago. And when I see everybody who's here, we all have the same heart. We all have the same desire. We all have the same dream for these kids. And to be in unity like that, for me, is amazing.
I think they should be at the XZone because there's a lot of good people here, and like they can take care of them and like show them right from wrong, and like they can like move forward in their lives and do more things in their lives.
It's a safe place. Like, you feel safe here, because the mentors, they'll just if you and also if you're having like rough days, they'll actually come and talk to you about it in private and make you feel better.
Doug and I are constantly talking to friends, family, people we come in contact with. Lots of times people ask us, they see our logo if we're wearing it out in the public, and they say, I've heard of the XZone and I've heard of all the good things that the XZone is doing. Tell me more. And so we're constantly talking it up and inviting people to come and be a part of the growth of the XZone.
We're always looking at leveraging corporate relationships, business relationships, to get those folks involved and behind it as well. And a lot of times, once people see the full vision for what we've got planned, they're in disbelief that this is really going to be a nonprofit funded endeavor of this magnitude, and they're willing to get in and get behind us and help us make it happen.
I walked in the first day, and Brianna, like, I don't even know, just ever since then we've been best friends, but she just
I'm sorry.
didn't even say hi. She just stood beside me. It was like, what's up? Let's be best friends. So like,
This is like our whole squad.
this is our squad.
When I grow up, I want to be better than my dad. Like he won't there for me. I want to be there for my child.
When I grow up, like, if this building is still around, which hopefully it will be, I will send my kids here just to show them, like, hey, I went here when I was a child. It was really cool. You guys should go check it out. Try and make it so they don't become addicted to their phones like some of the other world has.
It's a relaxing of the mind for a parent to know that their kid is at a place that has that, and it's consistent and committed to seeing the same results that they are. So I believe it's one of the great programs around, and I believe that our goal is not to be the kept secret, but to be on the tongues and the lips of every person in our community, that when there's a need with teenagers and with kids, that this was a place that they could go that meets that need.